أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. My brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I hope you're well and your families are all well. I begin in the name of Allah, the Merciful, the Beneficent. Alhamdulillah, we praise Him, thank Him, we send our salutations and blessings of Allah be upon our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Today, I want to talk about marriage and divorce. My brothers and sisters, marriage and divorce, the reason why I want to talk about it is because recently, and some of you would have seen on my Facebook post, that I received a message from, I spoke to a person, a sister, who called me up and said, brother, could you please help me? When I asked her, what's the problem? She said, my husband gave me a divorce by a text message. Is my marriage over? And is a divorce using text message acceptable? Is it a legitimate means of sending a divorce to your wife? My brothers and sisters, I want to talk about marriage and divorce in the light of Quran and the Sunnah today. But I also want to ask you all to seriously consider some of the implications of, firstly, your commitment on marriage when you sign up to a marriage contract, and the implications of divorce if that's what you do with your marriage, and that is to bring it to an end. Firstly, Allah Azza wa Jalla in the Quran describes marriage in these ways. He says, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَنْ خَلَقَ لَكُم مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُم مَّوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِقَوْمٍ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ. And amongst His signs is that He has created a partner from amongst yourselves, so that you might find rest with them, in order for Allah to bestow between the two love and mercy. There are signs for those who reflect. My brothers and sisters, this verse outlines certain principles of marriage. This verse can be divided up into two parts. First part is Allah's responsibility, and second part is human responsibility. Allah says very clearly in the first part that if you recognize me as your servant, if you recognize as a servant me as your creator, the correct way to put it, and if you recognize that I've created you, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَنْ خَلَقَ لَكُم مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا. Firstly, أَنْ خَلَقَ لَكُم. Allah has created all of us, recognizing that. And then He says, from one single entity, He has created our partner. When you look at marriage from that perspective, when you look at a human being from that perspective, and that is, person that I'm going to get married to is also a creation of Allah. And the person I am about to get married to has been created from the same origin, the same beginning. وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَنْ خَلَقَ لَكُم مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا. It is Allah's sign that He has created you. And it is Allah's sign that He has created your partner from the same root as you. Adam and Eve, Adam and Hawa were created at the beginning of humanity, and we are all from the same root, same origin. If you accept we've been created by Allah, and if you accept Allah has created our partners, then He says, لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا. The partner that you have, Allah has made that partner for you so that you can live with that partner in a safe space. In other words, your responsibility and my responsibility is first to recognize that Allah has created us. Secondly, it is to accept that me and my spouse are both the same root, same origin. We are human species. And third, our collective responsibility in a marriage is to create a safe space. My brothers and sisters, a safe space where you can grow. Grow together and grow collectively. Grow individually if you want, or grow together in a partnership. While you are accepting you as Allah's creation, what are you saying? You are saying Allah is the master of the universe, the creator of all of us. He has designed you and I and fashioned you and I in the best way possible. So when I look at my spouse, I don't look down upon them as though they're inferior to us because they look different. Because I think, in quote unquote, they're not good looking or they're ugly. Are you calling Allah's creation ugly? Are you deriding and mocking what Allah has made for you, your partner? Don't look down upon your spouse as somebody who's inferior or less than you. If you do, then you're mocking Allah. You're insulting Allah. If you accept Allah has created you and your partner, then you accept them for who they are. You don't want to change the way they are. Allah has made them this way. Or your nose is not good enough, go and do a nose operation. Your body parts are not good enough. Your breasts are not large enough. Go and have augmentation. Your hair is not good enough. Go and do hair transplant. All sorts of things we demand our partners to have. Wallahi, my brothers and sisters, that's an insult to Allah, as mocking Allah. Accept your partner for who they are, because Allah made them. In the way they are, that's perfect. That's number one, remember that. Number two, recognize that you have been created from the same origin, the same human species. In other words, you must treat your partner with respect. You must treat your partner with honor. You must treat your partner with dignity, just like you'd like to be treated with respect, honor, and dignity. Don't take away the freedom of your partner because you think you are in charge, and especially brothers think they're in charge of their homes and their wives must take permission before they go out of their houses. I've heard brothers say that. I'm not permitting you to leave. Who on earth are you to permit another human being who is an adult to leave or not to leave? Who are you? Who are you? You are a human being just like your partner is. When people talk like that, when brothers talk like that to their wives, it shows that that person is mentally disturbed. If you have to tell your wife, I prohibit you from leaving the house, something is wrong with your head. Something is wrong with your behavior, that you don't have a relationship of trust and love. You don't have a relationship of mercy and compassion. You don't have a relationship of interdependency. You don't have a relationship where you trust the other person so much so that they can leave anytime they want. They can come home anytime they want. You trust them that they will not abuse it. And they trust you that you will trust them and respect them and honor them. You honor your partner. You respect your partner. You accept your partner, just like you want to be respected, accepted, and honored. That's the second part of the same verse. The third purpose of marriage, my brothers and sisters, لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا, is to live with your partner in a safe space. It is not your wife's responsibility. Some people mistranslate this verse. They say, so that you can live with her in tranquility. Misunderstanding. Allah is saying, لِتَسْكُنُوا, you can live ilayha, referring to the marriage, not to her, not to your wife. It's referring to the marriage. In the marriage, you can live safely. That's what this verse means. Both of you, husband and wife. It is not about husband's comfort only. It is not about wife's comfort only. It is not about you. It is now a collective space, a safe space, where you can grow individually, learn more, grow more, become more intellectual if you want, no problem. If you want to become more spiritual, you can worship more, you can give more charity, you can spend more time in the worship of Allah, of course. You can do it collectively. You can become more charitable together. You can grow together by learning together. Individual and collective growth is required in that safe space, a space which is safe for you to grow emotionally, without abuse, without threat of abuse. When I say abuse, I mean verbal abuse, I mean emotional abuse, I mean physical abuse, I mean financial abuse, I mean sexual abuse. All types of abuse-free relationship is what Allah is referring to. That's why it's called لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا. You can live in marriage in a safe space. My brothers and sisters, mark Allah's words. Sakina is only possible when you put the work, when you put the hard work into it. لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا means you work together to create a safe space where you are free of abuse, free of threats of abuse, verbal, emotional, financial, physical, and sexual. No abuse. It should be a space that is sakina, safe, which you can call a home, where you want to long and belong and live and be happy together or on your own. It's called sakina. So brothers and sisters, when you are married, first part of your marriage, it's your duty. Recognize Allah has created your partner, honor your partner, respect your partner, dignify your partner. For Allah has created you both from the same root, number 2. And number 3, you create a safe space for you to both grow. I know brothers who often use their tongue in a very foul way. So this sister who got in touch with me saying, my husband has just texted me a divorce. What's wrong with you, my brother? Why are you such a coward that you're sending a divorce note to your wife using a text message? Why are you such a coward? Yes, I'm calling brothers who text their wives or WhatsApp their wives saying, I'm going to divorce you. I'm calling you cowards. Because a true devout servant of Allah, the one who is truly servant of Allah, the most kind, the most compassionate, would never do that to another servant of Allah, who Allah has created, who Allah has honored, who Allah has dignified. You would never do that in a relationship called marriage. You would not send a text message to notify your wife that you're going to divorce them. That's abuse. Cowardly. That's abuse, my brothers and sisters. Don't abuse what Allah has given you. Allah has given the right for a man to say, I divorce you, and start the divorce proceeding should not be taken lightly. Men who divorce their wives out of anger, out of becoming out of control because they can't control their rage anymore, such men need anger management. They need therapy. They need help and support. Sisters, don't put up with such mental illnesses if your husband is suffering from. Suggest to your husband to go and seek help for their mental illnesses. Seek support through counseling, through therapy. But you should not become the punch bag or a weapon, because some brothers weaponize the power Allah has given them, called the power to divorce. Don't weaponize it. If you do, you'll be in big trouble on the day of judgment. And of course, you'll be in big trouble on this earth. And sisters, the same applies to you. If you don't mean to ask for a divorce, don't say to your husband, divorce me now, divorce me now. Never use the word divorce unless you mean it. Never use the word unless you mean it. Whether you're a man or a woman, it doesn't matter. Never say, I want to divorce you, or never say, divorce me, if you don't mean it. And if you mean it, that's when you say it. And if you say it, remember, there is consequence. When you create a sakina, my brothers and sisters, sakina is a space where you're not being judged. There is no prejudice. There is no fear. There is no threat. You can be who you are. Of course, you and your husband and you as a wife, husband and a wife in a team together with your children and any other members of the family, you can live together in harmony. You must abide by the principles of Allah. That's a given. But in your marital relationship, there should be no threat, no abuse, and there should be no space where there is prejudice. It's called sakina. Create sakina in your marriage. Peace and tranquility is a byproduct, but your responsibility is to create the safe space. Are you feeling your marriage as a safe space? Do you feel emotionally safe with your spouse? Do you feel physically safe with your spouse? Do you feel financially safe with your spouse? Do you feel sexually safe with your spouse? Do you feel spiritually safe with your spouse? Do you feel safe with your spouse? Is your relationship safe? If it's not safe, then you have not fulfilled the purpose of marriage, لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا, so that you can live with them through tranquility and peace in a safe space. My brothers and sisters, in an Islamic marriage, in a Muslim marriage, in a devout servant of Allah's marriage, there is no room for abuse. You don't tell your wife, you don't tell your husband that they're not good enough. No. You don't tell your wife or your husband that their parents are not good enough. You don't insult your in-laws. It's unsafe to insult your in-laws. By insulting your in-laws, you're insulting your spouse. I know one couple where the husband told his wife, your parents are not welcome to my house. In fact, I'm banning them. How stupid are you to say such a statement? How foolish are you to make such a statement? How arrogant are you to make such a statement? Who gave you the right to say your parents are banned from our house? If you have married that woman, you must honor her parents, and you should never utter such foul, disgusting words towards your in-laws. And I've heard sisters saying to their husbands, either it's you or it's your mother or me. Choose between your parents or me. My sister, why do you say anything like that? If you have married a man, that man came with a mom and a dad. You must accept their mom and dad. You should never threaten your husband, either me or your parents. That's wrong and Islamic. That's abuse, and you will not get away with it on the day of judgment. So, man, be mindful when you are abusive towards your in-laws. Sisters, women, be mindful when you're being abusive towards your in-laws. It takes away the safe space that Quran requires all of us to create. Allah says, لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا, so that you can live with each other in a safe space, in tranquility and peace. And when you're threatening your in-laws, when you're abusing your in-laws, when you blackmail your partner using your in-laws, it's not a safe space. My brothers and sisters, I come across people who say to me, my husband controls my money. The benefit that I get from the government, he controls it. The child benefit that I get for my children, he controls it. I heard from brothers, my wife controls my earning. Every week I earn, every month I earn. I have no access to my own salary. She takes it, she keeps it, and she only gives me small amounts because she thinks she should be in control. Why? What kind of a relationship is that? I call that financial abusive relationship. Don't abuse each other financially. Be kind and generous. Be sharing because you have married one another. If you're going to be secretive about your finances, if you're going to be controlling about your finances, if you're going to be controlling about your spouse's finances, something has gone wrong in that relationship. Financial abuse is not acceptable. Emotional abuse is not acceptable. Physical abuse is never acceptable. Some brothers say, I can hit my wife. Which of our beloved Prophet's wife was hit by the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Give me one example of one of the wives of the Prophet ever being hit by their husband, Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Give me one. If you truly follow the examples of our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you would never, never, ever hit your wife. Never, ever. My sisters, if your husband hits your wife, I tell you, call the police. If your husband hits you, my sisters, listen to me very carefully. If your husband hits you, call the police. Let them learn that they cannot hit you. They're not allowed to hit you. Oh, brother, Allah says I can hit my wife. Where? Where? You can beat her black and blue? What kind of a man are you that you would beat your wife black and blue and then you would supposedly expect love from your wife, expect bed from your wife, expect sexual favors from your wife? What kind of a cowardly man are you that you'd go and hit your wife? Physically, she may be weaker than you. Go and hit your own size. Go and fight with a man. I don't encourage any fight, by the way. But if you want to fight your own size and your own strength. It's a cowardly thing to do, to hit a woman. Rasulullah condemned men who hit their wives. He never did it in his life. Do not allow yourself to be in an abusive relationship, my brothers and sisters, whether you're a man or woman. Domestic abuse, domestic violence, not acceptable under any circumstances. Sexual abuse is the same. Violating your wife sexually, not taking her permission before you have sex with her, or not mutually coming to the same conclusion. You can ask. She can say no. You can ask. He can say no. They're allowed. They're human beings. They may not be in the mood. Seek it, but be content with their response. Don't force yourself upon your wife or your husband. But be merciful to one another. Sometimes, even when you're not in the mood, being merciful to your wife or your husband will only gain you rewards. We have to be extra merciful to one another. It's called a non-abusive relationship. It's called sakina, litaskunu ilayha. My brothers and sisters, before I move on, I want to also talk about how brothers think they can divorce their wife by just saying, I divorce you 3 times, 5 times, 100 times, and it's okay. It's not okay. If I was a judge in a Muslim court, I would punish a man who abuses the right Allah has given him for divorcing and using the word, I divorce you. If he abuses it, I will punish him. It should be a punishable offense in my view. And according to many ulamas throughout history, Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu was one of the strongest ones instituting punishment for men who weaponize the word talaq or divorce. If your marriage has come to an end and you've exhausted everything, mediation, professional counseling, therapy, and you've realized actually our marriage is not working, Islam allows you to amicably move away. Why fight? I know a couple right now, as I speak to you, are paying 10 to 15,000 pounds each to their respective solicitors to have a divorce. How foolish are you, my brother or my sister? Why are you so foolish? Why pay 15,000 pounds each to a solicitor? Why not, if you want to amicably end, why fight over it? Why do people stoop so low that they behave worse than animals? You want to end your marriage? End it amicably, but exhaust everything possible. If you can't stay together, Islam doesn't force you to stay together. You can end your marriage, but end peacefully, end respectfully, end amicably. And if you want to end your marriage, sisters, you can ask for khula. Yes, you're allowed. You can ask for khula, where you apply to Sharia boards saying, can you please help us? And inshallah, you put your case and they judge and you get your divorce. Your marriage is ended. A brother, if you want to end your marriage, don't think it's a DIY process. I can just throw the word talaq at my wife and marriage is ended. You must fear Allah. You must fear Allah. If you really mean it, then you say, I am divorcing you. In Islam, in marriage, you've only got 3 points that you can gain, like your driving license. If you have a driving license, once all 12 points are exhausted, your driving license is revoked. You cannot have a driving license. You have to take a test again. Similarly, in a marriage, Allah gives you 3 points. If you say to your wife, I divorce you once, that's 1 point gone. You can't take it back. 1 point gone. Few months later, few years later, you say to your wife, I want to divorce you. Another point gone. You can't take it back. You've got only 3 points. 2 gone, 1 left. Next time when you say, I divorce you, your marriage is over. Your marriage is over. If you say, I divorced you 3 times at one go, first question is, why did you do that? Why are you so mean, so callous, so heartless, so rude, so crude that you would use such a weapon? I divorced you 3 times in one go. Why would you do that unless you mean it? Men who do that, they need to be punished. Don't do that. If you want to end your marriage amicably, just say to your wife, ideally in front of 2 witnesses and in writing, I wish to divorce, I wish to end our marriage, and I'm giving you the first of the divorce, and stop. Don't say anymore. If after 3 months or 3 monthly periods for the woman, that's how you measure it, you have not reconciled, you have not come together and said, okay, we're going to stay together, we're going to give it another try, your marriage is naturally over. You can go in your own ways. If later on, a few months later, you decide that, oh, we made a huge mistake and you're still single and you want to come together, you do the nikah again, do the contract, and you can come back to marriage. However, if you give 3 divorces in one go, or if you exhausted all 3, your wife is haram for you. That's it. End of your relationship. She has to get married to somebody else naturally. She has to consummate that marriage naturally. She has to end that marriage naturally. Naturally, remember, not contrived, not set up, not staged. Only then, when she has gone through all of that process naturally and she's available, then you can marry her again. I've heard some people go out of their way to make halala. A man has given 3 divorces to his wife. She marries somebody just for the name of it. She consummates marriage just for the sake of it. And then he marries her again. He divorces her and marries her. This is haram, haram, haram. There is no halala in this whatsoever. It's nothing but haram. It is haram altogether. Never go down that route. And I know I'm being strong, but family in Islam is sacrosanct. No room for compromise in this. If you can't control your mouth, then you don't deserve to have the right to give your wife a divorce just by words. We should institute it. I believe when a man says, I wish to divorce you, this should be lodged in a Sharia council too. And only after the Sharia council has assessed it, it should be assessed whether it is correct or incorrect. DIY divorce doesn't work. DIY marriage doesn't work. And we must end this abuse so that our families can come together and live together and create a good relationship. So brothers and sisters, your duty is to create the right space called safe space, called sakina. Allah says in the Quran. Then He says, وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً. If you create the right space, the safe space called sakina, Allah takes it upon Himself. He says, it's my duty now. وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ, I will put between the two, مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً, love and mercy. Love and mercy from Allah, مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً. Al-Wadud is Allah's name. He will give some of that to you and me if we create the right space. Rahmah, Allah's name is Ar-Rahman. He will give part of His Rahmah to us if we create the right space. My duty is to create the safe space. Allah's duty is to give me love and mercy. And if Allah gives me love and mercy, nobody can take it away from us. My brothers and sisters, Allah has given provisions for your marriage called love and mercy together. One without the other, a marriage cannot survive itself. A lot of love, not enough. A lot of mercy, not enough. They're two sides of the same coin. One side is marriage, one side is love, the other side is mercy. Without mercy, you cannot survive. Every morning you have to be merciful to your wife, to your husband. Every night when you're sleeping, your husband is snoring. Maybe you have to tolerate that, bear with it. Maybe we do all sorts of things in our sleep. Our spouse has to tolerate it. My brothers and sisters, it's called mercy. And we tolerate it because we love our husband, our wife. Because of love that we have for them, we tolerate it. We accept it. We embrace them. We accept them because Allah will give us love and mercy, and it grows with time if you create the right space. And then He says, وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً. Then He says, وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِقَوْمٍ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ. The last part I forget. إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِقَوْمٍ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ. There are signs for those who reflect. There are signs for those who reflect about everything that Allah has said in this verse. That you are creations of Allah, created in the best of fashion. That Allah has made you from the same root and same origin. Therefore you respect and accept and honor each other. The fact that it is your responsibility to create a safe space called sakina. And when you do that, Allah will give you love and mercy. Reflect on all of them. And reflect on your marriage. Evaluate your marriage constantly and regularly ask your spouse, your partner, how am I doing? Can I do things differently? Can I improve? Can we improve? Can we do things better? Regularly ask yourself, my brothers and sisters. When you ask yourself this question and evaluate it, your marriage will grow better. Every time you're together, your marriage will grow better because you'll feel more loved, more together, more connected. So my request to you all would be very simple. If you want to grow in marriage, reflect your marriage regularly. Ask your partner, like you do in your job, like you do in a project. You evaluate your project, evaluate your marriage. How am I being to my wife or my husband emotionally? How am I being to my wife or my husband physically? How am I being to my wife or my husband spiritually? How am I being to my wife or my husband intellectually? How am I being to my wife or my husband sexually? How am I being to my wife or my husband financially? How am I being to my wife and my husband's family? How much love and mercy am I inculcating in this marriage? How much am I investing in this marriage? Evaluate yourself and collectively evaluate your marriage. And then you'll realize your marriage is growing. And like I said earlier on, if your marriage is not growing and it is truly stagnant and you're suffering, you're feeling suffocated, you're feeling absolutely at your wit's end and you want to end your marriage, you're allowed to end your marriage, but respectfully. Allah says that in the Quran. End your marriage respectfully, in a dignified way, not like criminals fighting over a piece of land, not like thieves trying to steal from the other as much as they can, not like, what else can I say? I can use all sorts of colorful words, but I won't. Don't be cowards, please, brothers and sisters. Invest in your marriage. Respect your wife and your spouse, your husband. If you want to end your marriage, end it amicably. Sit together, talk to one another, get your families together, have two witnesses, and end your marriage nicely and amicably. No need to fight over it. By fighting, you will not gain anything. You lose more brain cells, you lose more emotionally, you will have heart attack as a consequence, you will cause pain for everybody else. Don't make marriage difficult. Don't make divorce difficult. Make marriage easy. And if you must end your marriage, end it respectfully. Today, I wanted to address this because some of you have raised concerns about marriages and divorces in our community. There are people out there who are saying all sorts of things. Brothers are saying all sorts of silly things. Sisters are saying all sorts of silly things when it comes to marriage and relationship. Invest in learning about marriage. Go and buy a book about marriage. A good book that will teach you. I can advertise my book. I wrote a book called 10 Things You Should Know About Marriage. You can buy that from the Barefoot Institute's website. You can buy it from your local bookshop, I'm pretty certain. Buy a book on marriage. My next book on marriage, inshallah, is going to be coming out very soon. I'll let you know when it does. Please buy and read. You don't have to be buying my books. Buy any book that you think will do a lot of good to you, especially get your mind sorted out. And remember, my brothers and sisters, you and I will be held accountable on this earth and in the hereafter. You can escape your wife or your husband, yes, but you cannot escape Allah. You can escape your wife or your husband, but you cannot escape Allah. Never can you escape Allah. For Allah knows and sees all things. So to finish off today, my brothers and sisters, accept your spouse, give them dignity and honor, respect them, accept them as the creations of Allah beautifully made, and therefore accept them for the way Allah has made them. Create the safe space for both of you to grow without abuse, without prejudice, without judgment, and without fear. Do not dishonor your parents and your in-laws. Don't insult them, don't mock them, don't ban them, don't be crazy and don't be stupid or foolish about your in-laws. And accept Allah will give you love and mercy if you create the right space. And take that love and mercy, reflect on it. Invest in your marriage, grow together. And if you can't live together and you want to end your marriage, end it amicably, mercifully, kindly, respectfully, and like two human beings with dignity and honor. May Allah bless us all. May Allah protect our families. Ya Arhamar Rahimin. Protect our families, Ya Allah. ربنا هب لنا من ازواجنا وذرياتنا قرة اعين واجعلنا للمتقين اماما. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. Ya Allah, protect our families, Ya Allah. Protect our spouses, Ya Allah. Bless our spouses, Ya Allah. Our husbands, our wives, Ya Arhamar Rahimin. Give them the blessings that you have promised, Ya Allah. Give us the strength to be able to understand each other, Ya Allah. Give us the strength to be able to tolerate and accept and respect each other, Ya Allah. Enable us so that we can honor each other, Ya Allah. Enable us so that we can dignify one another, Ya Allah. Ya Arhamar Rahimin. Enable us so that we can create the right space, a space at our homes for our families, Ya Arhamar Rahimin. For our children, for everybody who are around us, so that we all can feel safe and secure in our homes, Ya Allah. Ya Akramul Akramin, Ya Arhamar Rahimin. Help us to cleanse our hearts, Ya Allah. Help us to become the recipient of love and mercy from you, Ya Allah. Ya Arhamar Rahimin, Ya Akramul Akramin. Give us the love that you gave to our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companions, Ya Allah. Give us the love that you gave to our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his wives, Ya Allah. Ya Arhamar Rahimin. Give our marriages success, Ya Allah. Give our marriages success, Ya Allah. Give our marriages success, Ya Allah. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. My brothers and sisters, before I finish, I've got 3 announcements to make, very important ones. Please listen to me very carefully. This masjid where I'm standing right now is, of course, our beloved masjid, Wightman Road Masjid. It needs your help and support. Please keep donating for this masjid. Even when it opens, it still needs to pay the bills. When it's closed, it needs to pay its bills. When it opens, it will need to pay its bills. So please donate. Go to the Wightman Road Mosque's website and donate generously. Wightman Road Mosque is going to start a family study circle with me, inshallah, starting from this Sunday. This Sunday in the evenings, we'll start, inshallah. We'll start in the evening and you will get notification. I think we're starting at 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock, I can't remember. You'll find, inshallah, the details. I'll put it up on my Facebook post as well. It will be 7 o'clock till 8:30. 7 till 8:30 is our circle. It's called Family Study Circle every Sunday, 7 till 8:30. We're going to do 1.5 hours, but we're going to do an hour to... did I say 7 to 8:30? Yeah, let's do that, 7 to 8:30. That way, some people have preferred 8 to 9:30 because they would have had finished their dinner. I don't mind, but we'll give you the full notification of the exact timing very soon, inshallah. So remember, Wightman Road Masjid is going to start a study circle. And again, donate to this masjid for the fact that they're going to organize study circles. And donate as much as you can for the mosque is providing you amazing service. I'm going to relaunch my Quran study program, and you'll find notifications for it. And we're going to be doing a family program for husbands and wives struggling under COVID-19 on the 1st and the 2nd of August. That's going to be a course. And of course, Quran study is another course. We'll be letting you know. Keep your eyes open on my Facebook for further information. From me, my brothers and sisters, I am going to say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.